All right, then. It's about 4 minutes past the hour, so we're going to get started. I'll introduce myself, Jason Barnes, Chief Operating Officer with Genesis Chiropractic Software. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us this afternoon. We do this pretty much every Tuesday, so I know I see some familiar people who join us each week. And so welcome, and to all those people who might be joining us for the first time. Excited to introduce today's topic and guest today. But a little bit of background information. We like to think we're good at a lot of things here at Genesis, but we know we're not good at everything. And so we listen to the suggestions of our providers, and our providers have been asking us for tools that they can use to help talk to their patients, teach their patients, empower their patients, and well-informed patients, excited patients, and ones who have better tools in their hands, we know stay with the practice longer, and have a much higher tendency to refer their friends, family, colleagues, etc. And so today, I'm really excited to bring to you a response to a number of requests and something we know that will help you do just that with your patients, and that is an integration between Genesis Chiropractic Software and WebEx. And what I'm really excited about is all the work that's gone into this between our two organizations and how that work together is going to help you. So today we're going to find out what problems we're going to solve with how patients can take information that you want them to have for both clinical treatments as well as things they can do just to improve functional treatments or functional aspects of their lives. And to do that, I need to introduce Dr. David Cruz, who is the president and CEO of WebEx. And not to mention that he actually is a chiropractor and actually ran his own practice successfully for a long, long time. And he's passionate about this topic. And so I won't do too much more in the way of introductions, but I want him to do all the speaking for his own merits because, frankly, I've talked to him a few times now, and he knows exactly what he's doing. And so I'm going to introduce one of the founders and president of WebEx.
Hey, thank you there. I appreciate that intro and really excited to be here and really excited to be working with Genesis and Vericle on the integration. A lot of work went in, so we're excited to get this going. As Jason was saying, I did practice for about 18 years. I had a sports medicine practice, and the foundation of WebEx really came at a point about 11, 12 years ago, so where how can I do a better job with regards to engaging patients, getting them to do active care, because when you combine active care with chiropractic, there's nothing better in the literature that is going to show with regards to outcomes. But there's always the challenge of there's only so much time you have with regards to trying to get them the right exercises, reviewing the exercises, how do I connect with them, and how do I just reconnect with them. So that was really the impetus, and that was the start of WebEx that, again, I started the company about 11 years ago. So what I want to do is just go with a brief PowerPoint showing the, just kind of highlighting some really, I think, important points with regards to exercise and chiropractic, and then really just take you into the software and give you a demo and a feel of exactly what it is and how it can be utilized. Hey, Jason, we're getting some feedback. I don't know if that's on your end.
It's got to be me. I'm the only one that's not muted, so I'll mute myself. And, I'll make just one announcement. If there's any questions that people have, we ask that you type them in, and we'll answer them, and I'll mute myself, and I apologize for that, Dave, and we'll get started.
No worries. So as I mentioned, I just want to go through a couple slides just to kind of frame up what we're going to talk about with the demo and really kind of just dive straight into the software and integration and show you how it can improve your practice with regards to efficiency, even generate some revenue through active care, how to engage patients, and how to re-engage patients. So one thing I like to start with is just from a historical perspective. So often we it's thought of as chiropractic and exercise are two different things, and it's more of a newer concept. But if we look from a historical standpoint, chiropractic and exercise goes back to the early 1900s even, with a lot of the chiropractors adopting the teaching of a guy by the name of Bernard McFadden and in a way called physical culture, and helping patients with exercise, diet, just wellness overall, what we've always done. And this is a great picture from BJ's clinic in 1945, which has a gym. So I kind of laugh at anybody that says, well, exercise isn't part of chiropractic. And anybody that says that doesn't really understand the real history of chiropractic as far as I'm concerned, because it is a cornerstone of what the profession was founded on and what has been taught going back to Davenport. Because BJ knew that when you combine physical activity with chiropractic, you're going to get the best outcomes. And now we're seeing that from an evidence perspective as well. So when we talk about just improving outcome, we see it with whiplash from acute injuries. If you look at this article and this quote from Bogdup, the #1 researcher with regards to the disc and his lumbar modeling with disc and spinal pain, he even talks about, we need to be prescribing exercise for better outcomes. Or from the Annals of Internal Medicine, it's just we need to include, cognitive behavior, which is talking to patients, exercise, spinal manipulation, these interdisciplinary approaches, not just rest or pain medication. It is active care, it's exercise, which is so well established in the literature to give the best outcomes. So as we kind of look at how to do this, how do I become successful at that? Well, there's a couple key points, and I'll show you these as we get into the program, is that when you give an exercise program, we want to make sure everybody does it in proper form, where they know what they're doing. The #1 cause of injury is a history of an injury in that same area. And the #2 cause is asymmetries, which is compensation. And so when people have pain, they compensate. And so that's why when they come in for care, we want to make sure that you work with them in the sense that they're doing the exercises properly in good form, and then they have something to refer to what is that good form when they're out of your office. And then you want to just get them on a regular program, just minimum 2 times a week from a behavior change standpoint. You don't need to get them to do it 5-7 days a week. Let's just get them doing a couple days. We want it from a behavior standpoint because we want it for the long term. Short term, everybody's on board. And I know when I practice, people come in, it's like when they're hurting, it's like, hey, doc, I'll do whatever you want. You know what? You want me to go bake cookies? You want me to stretch 5 times a day? Whatever you tell me, I will do because that's going to help my pain. But as soon as the pain stops, guess what happens? Compliance drops. And that's where short-term people are super compliant. Long-term, only about 23% of the time they stay compliant. So there's a huge decrease in that. So what can we do to re-engage them? So I'll talk and I'll show you that. And then when they come back in, talking to them and reassessing, watching them do those exercises again, because it's really crucial to, again, engage patients, watch them do their exercises, making sure they're doing it right for the best outcomes. And when we give a prescription, your adjustment is going to maximize these benefits. There's a ton of literature that talks about, even in the low back, how the chiropractic adjustment is going to cause hypertrophy of the multifidi muscles. It's going to decrease pain. It aborts these postural reflexes. It has all these great effects, which then is complemented with exercises. So that's what we want to get into, is how can we make it simple? How can we make it effective for you to progress, track, monitor patients from an active care perspective? So as we kind of move forward, the keys to success, or some of the keys to success, and this is a great article out of the Canadian Chiropractic Journal. They looked at what's going to be successful in a home exercise program, and what they talked about was the home exercise program shouldn't stop when there is a resolution of pain or resolution of symptoms. You should continue that going from a wellness perspective to keep people active and healthy. There's even good evidence that shows when the pain stops, that doesn't mean that the muscles are working as they should. So don't let pain be the indicator of when you stop an exercise program or when the patients should stop there. We want to be realistic in the goals, right? We don't want to overdo it with people because we don't want them to fail at this. So really kind of set reasonable goals. We have some handouts which we can send you on talking about this, making 1 or 2 exercises to start with, just something that they can be successful with and building on that. And then with regards to compliance, checking in on them, having them do the exercises in your office so they know that you're going to be checking up on them. And how can we help build your brand with the web exercises? Well, these are going to, all the exercise programs, as well as you can print for your documentation and handouts, but you're going to be able to share these as well via email, so they can watch a video demo of the exercises. So anytime, any place, they're going to be able to see how to do those exercises properly. So when they come in, hopefully they'll be doing that properly, and you can progress them accordingly and move them on to a little more challenging exercises. And then we also want to show you a really cool tool to share exercises via social media to help build your brand through Facebook, to engage patients through Facebook. Because so often, once a patient leaves the office, we don't engage them that often. Well, let's keep them engaged through exercise. It becomes a really authentic way to talk to people and talk to your patients. So what I want to go into is really just a demo of the product and talk to you about some of these things which I just said. So I'm going to switch screens, and now I'm going to be into the interface. So as you get into the interface, what you're going to see is this. It's going to be a single sign-on process, which means once you sign on and get access to web exercises, you're going to be presented with a way to search for a variety of exercises. You can search neck, you can search shoulder, you can search hip and low back. And you can simply go, I need a low back exercise with a, for instance, stability ball. And there's all sorts of different search criteria to make it simple in finding exercises. And you simply just search for that criteria, and this calls up the exercises. I can click on any thumbnail and see instructions. I can edit any text. I can even watch a video demo, and this is what's going to be sent to the patients so they can see exactly how they're going to be performing the exercises. Because after they leave your office, they're likely not going to remember everything you said, so that's why it becomes so important to get them this remotely so they can follow up and do these exercises. The search engine is such that you can even type in keywords, even like I can type in whiplash, for instance, and pull up exercises that are going to be good for exercise, for whiplash. So anything from range of motion to some isometric strengthening to even some with resistance bands to help progress patients through that. And again, these are photos and videos which you can send to your patients because we want them understanding. A patient that understands what they're supposed to be doing is going to be more engaged. Somebody that's more engaged is going to be more successful at what they do. And so the search criteria here really just allows you to go through this and simply find exercises based on what sort of criteria you would like. To get started, I want to take you through what it would take to actually put a program together and just show you how simple it is and how time-saving it can be. Now, before I do that, I skipped over protocols. Protocols are extremely easy to use. You can build your own or you can use any of ours. You can put together, for instance, some of your neck and back favorites or ones for, shoulder rehab for your throwing athletes. And these become very, very helpful when creating programming for similar patients because we all know that a lot of patients we treat are very similar. We all start patients very similar with exercises, but then can change and vary, and that's what templates allow us to do. We also have 45 evidence-based protocols. So you might have a patient with a sprained ankle. So instead of searching our database for, what am I going to do for this sprained ankle, just use our protocols. It can show just a variety of different ones. I'm just going to scroll through from, lateral epicondylitis, to runner's knee, to ACL tears, to low back pain, so just all sorts of commonly found just musculoskeletal conditions which you treat day in and day out to make it simple. The other thing which is really great, which we like to also give back is in the sense of some of the data which we get, is that the clinical best practices. This is an aggregation of what all providers are doing that use web exercises. We've had, I think, 5-6 million exercises, more than that actually, go out through our platform. And what we're able to do is say, I want to see the top 10 low back exercises that are being prescribed. Now, the significance is that has to do with standard of care. I used to sit on the California State Board on review cases regarding standard of care, and what we always would look at is you're going to be judged against your colleagues given a similar circumstance or similar case, right? So meaning, what would I do versus what would my colleague do or any other colleague given the same circumstances with regard to that case? Kind of that's how you're judged, or one of the things which you're judged upon with regards to standard of care. What the evidence-based and best practices does is you can, with pretty much reasonable certainty, if you search and say click on low back, if you select a couple of these exercises, say I want to get started with these 3 exercises for this patient, I'm certain that there's thousands of providers that have given these same exercises for patients. So you're not just searching exercises based on your opinion, you're searching it based on what thousands of other providers have done. And let me take you through how simple it is to create a program. I'm going to get in here. This is under the patient info. This is your history of every program. So I can go back at any point and see an exercise program I've given. Okay? So I'm going to go back to the patient info, or I can see a current program. A current program I can print and email. When I print this, it's going to print with instructions. It's going to print with all the information we need. And I'm seeing that we're going to update this with the Genesis and the Vericle. I'm just seeing that right there. So it prints with the information. I'm going to cancel this out so you can see it. Instructions, a calendar that's specific to the days and frequency you want. So if you want that patient to do a program for 1 week, it builds a 1-week calendar. If you want to do it for 6 weeks, it builds a 6-week calendar. It's also going to have your name, clinic name information in the upper right-hand corner. Give patients the information what they need. I'm going to go back here. I can print these in 1, 2, or 4 exercises per page, or when there's an email in the account that comes from Genesis and pushed in here, you hit email RX and it gets pushed out to them so they can see exactly what they're supposed to do with the video demo. The other thing from a compliance and billing standpoint, I'm going to click on this, hit print. This is your prescription summary, and this makes it real easy from a documentation standpoint. You as a clinician don't need to know all the instructions. You just need to know what I gave to that patient on that specific day, and you can have this printed in seconds and then put in the patient file. You can also, save this as a template. The template makes it very easy, as I said, but if you create something which you like, you can save it as your favorite. I'm going to go ahead and create a program right now. So I'm going to cancel this out so I can start from scratch as if I had a brand new patient. All I do is I go create new RX. Let's say I have a low back patient in here. I'm going to go to the Vericle protocols. I can go to low back. This person just has a low back strain. I hit refresh. That loads. Now, I can do one of 2 things. I can say I'm done, and that's all I need to do, or I can edit it. Let me edit this. And excuse my voice. I've been at a trade show last week, so my voice is still kind of toast from that, talking for a few days straight. I'm going to edit this. Now, I can remove some if I want. I just click remove, refresh. I've just gotten rid of a few now. Acting a little slow right now. Sometimes the screen share slows it down. There we go. Now, if I wanted to, say, add an exercise or 2, maybe a different core exercise, I would go search. It brings up this, hit core. And now, since I'm in the middle of prescription, it has these check boxes. So now simply all I have to do is select the check boxes I want. And now I can hit return to RX. I can change how long I want them to do this. I'm only going to have them do this a week because I really want to monitor them. I can change this. Might want to have them do this daily. I can type in a comment. Perform as tolerated, for instance. I hit next, and now finish. And at this point, I'm done. I don't need to do anything else. I simply can select all and print these, or I can email it if an email address is in there. So it makes it very simple for me to create, track, and print exercise programs. If I wanted to save this as a template, the nice thing is going to be I can just go save as template, and this is going to be, my new low back protocol there. Refresh is kind of a save. Now I hit next, and now I'm finished. Now all I would need to do is use the one click for the new protocol right there as I have another patient come in with a low back strain. The other thing I want to show you is the Quick RX, because it's exactly that. It's just template-based, really simple. I select the duration and have them do this for 3 weeks. I say, let's go to my protocol I just created, my new low back protocol. It auto-loads it in, and I simply just choose the couple that I want. I just want them to do these 4. Create. And at this point, it's done. So in a matter of seconds, the Quick RX is essentially that. Very quick, very simple. It automatically brings up the 2 exercises per page, print page, which you can see, which just condenses it down. So let me get rid of this. So let me go back to the exercise search. So as I was saying, as I started, it's a way to really get patients exercise programs efficiently and effectively. These can be billed under your standard 97110, your 97535, 97530 therapy codes. You obviously want to make sure it's a minimum value of 8 minutes to 15 for your 1 unit and 23 plus minutes for your 2 units. But it makes it very simple. If you're not actually billing for therapeutic exercise, you need to. As you probably all know, with the shift within healthcare, as more and more passive modalities are not being paid, the one thing which is in most states that is continuing to be paid is active care, because insurance companies, from PI to private insurance and even workers' compensation, if you deal with that, they need to have an active care model. We know that within PI. If you don't have active care in a PI, you're going to kill the case. If you know within work comp, if you don't get back to functional restoration, you're not doing you're not providing the treatment which is ultimately should be. So, I mean, active care is a huge component, not only with regards to PI, work comp, but now private health insurance is really looking at that, because they want people to be active. They want people to be active long term, because that drives down healthcare costs, as you know. Low cardiovascular fitness has a higher mortality rate than diabetes, heart disease, all these chronic diseases that we see so often. Just low cardiovascular fitness, which is exercising less than 3 times a week for 30 minutes or less, for 30 minutes, was categorized as low cardiovascular fitness. So getting people to move, getting people just up makes a significant impact. And you're able to re-engage patients as well. One way I want to show you to re-engage is what we talked about through exercise. If you've sent out a program for 2 weeks, and if they drop off, that's a great opportunity for you to re-engage, to get them back in the office. Then they should understand how important that exercise program is to their overall care. So it's a great opportunity to reach out to them about how their exercise program is going and getting them back in. I think it comes from a very authentic standpoint in trying to provide this wellness perspective and approach through exercise. The other way is, I'm going to load up another screen here, is through our partner in Share Web Exercises. Some of you may be familiar with this. It's Amplified, started by Jason Deach. We have our own library in here. And so what you're able to do is, by simply clicking the share button, this will automatically post to your Facebook page. So what we want to help you do is build your brand, build awareness through your social media using exercise. There's no better way to get people to move than through social media, because everybody's checking their phone, everybody's on social media. So we encourage you, it's a free service, to go to Amplified and sign up and use our Share Web Exercises, not only from an engagement, but also help to build your brand. With healthcare becoming more challenging, really differentiating yourself, your clinic, your skill set, and what you do really makes a difference. And with Web Exercises and this integration with Genesis, we can help you do that. We can help you re-engage those patients. We can help you differentiate you to the clinic down the street. And you can start even providing, if you're not already doing active care, we can help start to increase your services and actually increase revenue. Revenue, again, is either going to be from a reimbursement or insurance reimbursement or through private. But bringing in exercise as this trend to wellness is moving in healthcare. It's essential, and it's going to be a cornerstone. Exercise is not going anywhere. It's just getting bigger and bigger. So we hope that the integration with Vericle and Genesis, what we're doing here is going to help really, maximize that impact for your patients. Jason, I'm going to have you come on back. I don't have anything more specific. I can also show the filters in here where you can even search, myofascial release with foam roll. You can search body positions, for instance, all sorts of different search filters.
Yeah, no worries. Can you hear me?
Oh, yep, I can hear you. There we go.
Okay.
And type of equipment. You can even search by type of muscle. So all sorts of search criteria, because we know all providers want to search for exercise difficultly, and that's the experience we've gained over 11 years is learning how providers search, but we also want to continue to learn. So give us feedback as you get in and use it, because that's how the product gets better with more and more feedback.
Well, there's two questions, if it's all right if I shoot those over to you.
Yep, please.
Right now. The first was about the integration, more specifically about how the patient accounts get created and how those email addresses get populated, because most of our clients, when they're creating those patient accounts, are including the email addresses in there. And the question was, will those automatically come over from Genesis over to Web Exercises? The answer to that question is yes, guys. You don't need to type those in again. And the only question I'll ask you, Dr. Cruz, is when you actually click that, when you sign up for the Web Exercises account and it's connected to Genesis, are you able to email right out of that application? So right then and there, you can choose to send the patient that and they'll get that?
Yep, absolutely. So if you're looking at my screen here, if I, day one, let's make this real simple. Day one, you would create an URX, and if you want to make it simple, all you do is go, I have a patient with a low back injury. I hit refresh, then I hit finish. I'm just going to go with what the suggestions are. I'm done. As you said, that email got pulled in, so all I literally do is hit email RX. Done. 15 seconds or less. Programs created, documentation, sharing with the patient. Done. Okay,
the follow-up question to that from the same person is, the next time the patient comes in there and they want to access this information to ask them, hey, how are those exercises specifically, and they want to look at the ones that emailed to them, how do they do that?
How do you do that, or how do they do that? I'm sorry.
How do they do that? How does a doctor or clinician, when they want to follow up with the patient, go in and see what they've sent them or what they've recommended to them?
Okay, so I go in, I get presented with this, the patient information tab. I simply click on the date at the top. It's chronological, so I simply click on the date, and that brings open my current program right there.
Got it. All right, that works. And the other question I think we'll attack in just a moment or two. The other question is, how do we get this? So, we'll definitely close with the information necessary with how to engage this. And
great, sounds good.
We'll wrap it up.
I'll let you take it over. I want to thank you for allowing me to share this integration. We have thousands of exercises in here. We continue to update the database. We continue to make changes and updates because nothing is ever static in exercise. Exercise is moving. So with regards to software and software development, we always like to keep moving forward as well.
Yeah, awesome. Hey, I really like to thank you. But before you stop sharing your screen, up along the menu bar to the second to the last option that you see there, you're going to see the apps button, Dr. Cruz. Nope, actually a little bit lower, actually within Genesis itself.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, to the left there, It's that menu bars to the left where your mouse is. There you go. Underneath your welcome, there you go. Perfect. So click on that for me, please.
Yep, there you go. Sorry, I thought you said ask, as in ask a question.
Yeah, I have a New Jersey accent, so it's awful. So this is an app store, and you have actually, because you're in a demo account right now, access to a few of them that we wouldn't show just about anybody or everybody, but that's okay. And scroll right back up to the top, Dr. Cruz.
Yep.
You see the My Subscriptions? Click on that one. This one's already subscribed, this account, so it would be under available apps for anybody else, but you can simply click on the Web Exercises app in your app store. So just like we were able to talk Dr. Cruz into finding the apps at the top, you guys find this within your system. You click on this, you come on over, and you click on the Web Exercises logo itself, or the words. I believe you actually click on Web Exercises. And if you do that right now, Dr. Cruz, you don't mind?
Yep.
Perfect. I think you actually have to click on Web. There we go. And you're already subscribed, but if you weren't, it would have subscribe. And what that does is we'll actually reach out, and the next question that Dr. Neal just typed in, which is already answered in here, the cost is $34.95 a month to gain access to the Web Exercises. It's listed right there in your app store. And you'll subscribe to that. We will get you set up. We'll contact you to make sure we link the accounts so that you guys have the access you need and it's set up the right way. It pretty much is done with just a click, but we do reach out to make sure that it's actually working and operational for you guys. So, we got the okay, thank you, answered the questions. I also, typed back to the other people that are asking questions, and Dr. Cruz, they all confirmed that you did answer them, by the way.
Okay, great.
So, I'd really like to thank you. Great information, and we're really excited about this integration, and we know a lot of people take advantage of it. So,
great. Yeah, we are working on training. The last point is when you come on board, we are working with the Vericle Genesis team on doing some webinar training to make sure that everybody knows how to use the software properly to its full extent, because we want people maximizing its utilization. So information will be coming regarding that as we work those things detailed out.
Awesome. That's it for all the questions. I'll give somebody just another second here. If they have another question, please type it in now. Otherwise, we're going to wrap it up, and that will be that. All right, no other questions? Well, Dr. Cruz, thanks again. That was fantastic. And for anybody who would like to hear this again, usually takes us until Friday, but we will have this up on the GenesisChiropracticSoftware.com website. Check it out under resources, and it'll be packaged up there.
Great. Thank you again. Appreciate it, and look forward to working with you and Genesis.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, and have a great afternoon, everybody.
Great. Thank you.